Hi, I'm Giltwist, admin on the Voxel Box and CEO of Guilty Twisters Inc., where you'll never regret buying a good screw. Driver. Here at Guilty Twisters Inc., we use nothing but the latest technology to make the most creative builds possible, and these days, that means tekkit. Now you're saying to yourself, tekkit? Isn't that the thing with all the pipes and the red power and all that? Well, yeah, it's got that, but it's also got microblocks, and that's what we're going to be using today. Let's get started. Alright, here we are, flying into our location, and up ahead you can see the build that I've already begun. Now, those of you who are looking carefully may notice that those blocks are different colors on different sides in certain places. That's due to a clever use of the anti-cover block as well as the cover blocks. Now here, you can see I've just placed two slabs, which would honestly been a lot easier to build with. There's just one problem with that, and let me just grab a little strip here. There we are. Okay. The way these line up, the microblocks just won't stick to those slabs. They like to be on the edges, not in the middles. Let me show you here. See how the door matches nicely in the center? That's great, but without the microblocks, it's just not worth it. Alright, back over here. So, here you can see on the outside, nice and blue and solid. If I go in, close the door, nice and pink and solid. Isn't that awesome? Alright, let me get finishing these walls. To the time lapse! Alright, so the walls are all finished. Let's do a quick fly around here. And you can see, it's only one block thick, but I've got two completely different textures. Awesome. So now we're going to go take care of the living room here. You can see I've also set up a little bit of the ceiling and the floor from upstairs, and here's some stairs going up to it, but we'll work on that later. What I'm really interested in doing right now is taking care of these walls. Oh, darn it. I'll fix that later. Anyway, I've got this blue line down here, and what I'm going to do is build something called wainscoting. You see it if you watch HGTV, they're constantly putting it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of this some of these microblocks here to make some really neat patterns. I'm going to use a little bit of the blue wool down the bottom, some marble, and then I'm going to use that marble. No, wait, yeah, okay. The marble cover strip. And I'm going to move on and grab some other things too. Maybe the dirt look good. So there's so many choices, it's always hard to choose. I'm just gonna, I don't know. Play with that a little bit. Just grab something for now. Anyway, putting in these little panels down here. Doesn't quite work at the stairs, but I'll figure that out later. On the marble strip here. And do it over here too. Good enough right now. Gets that nice 3D effect that makes it realistic. And here comes some nice crown molding. I'm gonna use the dirt. Maybe no. Oh, that's the log. I don't like that. Grab something else here real quick. it. Oh, there it is. Hope it doesn't turn grassy. We'll just see what happens. Yeah, that's a nice dark color. Gives a little bit of contrast to all that white. I'll figure out the staircase later. There we go. That is looking good. And there's a little bit more of the ceiling. I think that looks like that popcorny ceiling. That's the marble. That's bedrock in this texture pack, but you know, get more of that a little bit later. A little bit more of this, and then I think I'll cut to a time lapse. Okay, I want to build a little closet here. So the first thing I got to do is change out these walls here. I'm going to use log anti-cover here. Oh, darn it. That's off. Yeah, I'll fix that. There we go. Okay, that lines up nicely. The blue. I'll fix the blue in a second. Not quite symmetrical. There's that little white line on the other side, but I think when I put the wainscoting wrap around, then it'll be okay. Alright, I need to get rid of that back there. I think I'll use the bookshelf back there. Yeah, bookshelf. This is again anti-cover, and oh darn it. The one problem with these microblocks is you have to get them just right. If you don't click in just exactly the right spot, they don't quite line up, especially these anti-covers, because they're almost the whole block, but not quite. And with the shelves inside the closet. Should I put some up there? Nah, okay, just put some snow up there. Yeah. Doesn't need to be gigantic. Oh, darn it. Log anti. You can see the interior over there. I'll get around there. Yes. Oh, there we go. Oh, damn. Should really just get one of those flying rings. Anyway, there's the panels on the interior. That's all looking normal again. And you got some nice wood there. Panel there. Alright, it's starting to come back together. Now I just need some snow block. Huh. The door. Another door. Snow block. Snow block. Why is that snow not working? It's like the third time I've tried to use it. Oh, it's snow tile. Oops. There you go. Snow block. Big difference. And there's a closet. Alright. Kitchen time lapse time. Alright, I'm going to try to cover this as best as I can. So what's going on here is I'm using some of that metal textured block to make counters. In really fancy houses, these countertops often have a nice separate material on top. I'm going to use obsidian for that. I think it kind of looks like the black marble that's very common. You can also see that I used a cauldron there for a sink, and you're going to see I'm going to do a little bit more work on that here in a second. Up at the top, you can see I'm adding in some cabinets. I'm not really happy with the placement there in the corner because of the way the fold. It'd be nice if I could do a lazy Susan in there, but I'm not exactly sure how. Now you can see I'm adding a backsplash. If if you look at Home and Garden Television, you know, any of those DIY shows, you'll see they add these tile backsplashes all the time. It's just a very common thing in modern houses. Alright, now I'm adding a little bit of obsidian strips there to hide the top of the cauldron and make it match. Sometimes you have to be a little clever about how you place them, because it won't place directly with those microblocks. Just the way of the world, I guess. I'm gonna grab a diamond pickaxe to delete some of this stuff here now. One of my favorite things to do is use a pumpkin and a hatch to make a garbage disposal. I'm sure you can do that with different microblocks, but this texture pack, the pumpkin, works great for that. I'm going to put in a fume hood over here and some stoves. I'm going to use burning furnace for my stoves, and I like to put some pressure plates on top to look like the elements of the stove. And there's the fume hood. Now I'm going to try to bring around some signs, and those look like drawers. I use the pipes, which is the shift/slash key over the enter, and then a few underscores. I think that looks like a nice little handle there. Corners are always a problem with signs, so I'm going to just put another shelf down there. And put the drawer on this side. I'd like to use fence gate over there for hot and cold water taps, but the way microblocks work is they makes it very difficult to use fence gate, so I'm gonna have to use something else. I think maybe I wanted to use like little handles there. Again, I'm trying all sorts of different microblocks. The one I ended up using here was a nice smooth metal looking, I think it was a pillar or a column, one of those, whichever one was the smallest. And here you can see me trying a whole lot of different. There we go. That was the one. So it's kind of like a spigot coming out of the wall there. And it'd be nice if I could figure out how to get handles in there, but just not going to happen with my setup as I have it right here. Pretty good, pretty good. And now you can see me starting to bring around the crown molding. Causing me a little trouble around that smoke hood, so I'll have to tweak the smoke hood here momentarily. Yeah, see, I can't even get it from over top, so I'm just gonna have to change those. And that's just a simple matter of rotating the stair blocks there. So I'm going around doing the crown molding on the rest. And instead of the wainscoting here in the kitchen/dining room area, I'm going to go ahead and do baseboard with that same dirt material. I was just seeing if I could get a different material in there to make it work. The real secret to microblocks is just playing until it works. And I'm just going to use voxel tools here to rotate that fume hood around, and now it matches up all nicely. And there goes in the baseboard, which I think adds a lot of real class to this. It's one of the things I love about tekkit is you can just add so much little detail that you would never be able to do otherwise. I'm adding in the corners now. I'm not exactly sure what to do about the wainscoting there. I'll come back, do a final pass later on, and make the wainscoting blend more seamlessly with the baseboards. Here, so we can take advantage of that beautiful sea view. And I'm going to use a glass cover. It's tempting to use glass pane, but again, that would hit in the middle of the block. And I I want it to be at the edge, right where the wall is. And the way to do that is with glass cover rather than glass pane. I could potentially make it a little bit taller here, but I'm afraid that with my dual thick, I wouldn't be able to get like slab anti-cover. There's lots of those little microblocks that you wish exist but don't really yet. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting together the table, and that's the remainder of the time lapse here. I'm just going to be playing around with the table. That's it for this time. On our next episode, we'll put some furniture in the living room, get some stuff in the bathroom, and maybe if we have a little bit of time, even get started on putting up the second floor. If you want more of this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe.